Howdy, readers! Welcome to another video on your graphic novel book writing and designing and all that good stuff. All right, honestly, we're at the point where you are adding color, you are jazzing up your work, and getting ready to kind of finalize your book. So, I want to give you some tips on that final step you can take if you're ready. Designing a book cover. Have you ever heard of that statement? Don't judge a book by its cover, right? Like, what does that actually mean? When someone says don't judge a book by its cover, it's kind of saying, like, hey, don't just look at the outside and start assuming things and guessing things about what is inside, right? You might look at a person, right? And they might look a little scary to you, but it could be like the nicest person in the world, right? I'm thinking of like my dad. It'd be so scary sometimes. And you look at him and he looks so angry. And then I go, hey, dad. And he goes, hey, how's it going? And I'm like, oh, he's not scary at all. Not today, at least. All right. So kind of think about that, but throw it out the window. Because guess what? How do you pick books as a reader? Don't sit there and tell me you don't look at the cover as a first idea of what you think the book is going to be about, right? Like, what a weird saying that kind of like doesn't actually make sense. When I pick out a book that I want to read, I'm looking at the cover to see, what it's going to be about. And then maybe I'm reading that little summary on the back. So you want to make sure you design a cover that draws your reader in and can help them, in a way, judge your book, right? Give them an idea of what it's going to be about. So let's talk about book cover design and kind of have a conversation together right now about like how we can design our cover. So you all received a big piece of blank construction paper, right? That your paper that you received to do your actual novel in was kind of covering. And I said this would be acting as our kind of cover if you wanted to use this as a cover that you could staple the edges to. So I want to design a book cover, and we've talked about this before, but I want to continue this conversation about how to make a cover that is purposeful. So I definitely am going to need to include a few things. So let me get my sticky note so I remember what we need to include. You need to have the book title. You need to have, what else? Your name. You're the author, right? Some sort of image that connects to the book. At least those things, right? And probably some color, let's be real. All right, so my story, to recap, is about little Miss Sally who wants that puppy in the window, right? So she goes through all these experiences, ends up having this super successful lemonade stand, and saves enough money to get her puppy. So I remember the theme of my book was like you have to work hard for the things that you want. So I kind of want some ideas of theme to come through, kind of want some components of my stories to come through on my cover. So I think that I'm going to start by figuring out where I'm going to place my title and my name. So I think down at the bottom here, I'm just going to lightly like block off this section where I'll play around with font for my name, and then I'll block off a section on the top here for my title, right? So now I'm going to be thinking about my picture, and I can always come back and kind of work it different ways, but I'm kind of thumbnailing my cover right now, right? So I got a place for my title, I have a place for my name. I need to think about what image am I going to use to, oh my goodness, I just thought of it. What image I'm going to use to kind of show my book. So I think what I'm going to have is a wallet. And instead of money on the inside, it's going to have lemons on the inside. So I'm going to work to design my wallet. I'm going to have some lemons. So I'm thinking, do you notice how like that is something that's going to draw on a reader? Why does this book have a wallet filled with lemons on it? Right? what could possibly be happening? But it's not just as random as you think, right? Because we know in the story that this person is going to sell lemonade. That's kind of how they get their money to pay for that sweet little puppy in the window. Right? So maybe I'll have some lemons in there. Maybe I'll put a little bit of the dollar bills in there to show that she eventually does get that. But then I'm going to think of my title and my name. So I just kind of want to give you some tips and reminders on how to design that cover. You don't want to give too much away, but you want to entice and draw in the reader to your story. So once you're ready and you have things colored in, go ahead and start working on designing your cover if you have time. Happy writing.